Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Tiffany County Redevelopment Commission is now called to order. Tuesday, June 11th, 2 p.m. plus. First item on the agenda is the election of officers for 2019. You want to explain to us who the officers are now? I know I'm president. This is the secretary.
And I think Tom Murtaugh is vice president. Is that right?
Yep. Is that right? Okay. That's right.
Okay. So was that a motion?
I'll make the motion that we keep the officers
Okay.
as they are.
Is there a
currently.
second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes. Okay, we got the minutes from,
Yeah. Looks like we have 2 sets of minutes.
yes.
I'll make a
To
motion.
approve.
We approve the minutes from the April 26, 2018 and the December 18, 2018.
Okay, that's all one motion, okay? Any second to that?
I'll second.
Okay, been moved and seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Okay. Review of the 2018 project fund activities.
Now,
Turn that over.
okay, I've got a lot of pages here, but I'll make this pretty brief.
Good.
We start out with the first page. I eliminated all of the cash. The first section there is cash. I just put the end of the month balances so you can see how we move through the year, and it depends when we're going to have property taxes and when they're spending the money, because these are basically road projects. So you see, we started out with $730,000. We went up to, after the June settlement, we were about not too far away from $2 million. We worked ourselves back down to $767,000. So, we did gain like $37,000 over the course of the year. So we basically broke even for the amount of revenue that we brought in. The next little sections, these are revenue lines. The ones that don't have the lines, it shows the two property tax distributions. There's one in June and December, so that's the May and November property tax collections. So we got $1.6 million in property taxes from the TIF. The next lines, the next couple of pages are revenue lines. The first one is unrestricted grants and other things, which is basically going to be reimbursements from NDOT. And there's a little bit of detail, but not enough to really even know what the projects are. We skip a couple pages there, and we move into the investment earnings. So that's the interest on the $700,000, and that's going to fluctuate as we go month by month. And it shows that interest. So we gained $18,000 in interest for the year. The next line is asset sales, and so there was some money there. I'm not sure exactly what we did on Lindbergh, but I'm not sure that's once we.
That's the property we sold. Funded our property.
Okay, yeah.
So we acquired it for right-of-way, but we had to get the whole parcel, and that ended up, I don't know how much of this you care about, but that ended up, what we took made the septic not work, and so we couldn't really use any of it, and then we auctioned it off, and that money went back, because we acquired it with this money, so it went back to that fund when we sold it.
Okay, so we go through that with the number that you see before the description, the 4880, they all start, that is telling us the fund number that is in our financial system. If the next numbers are all zero, like you see with the interest or the one for the asset sale, you got 000, 0740, the all zeros tell me that's a revenue line. We get to the one that's got professional services and it's got 4880, 0810. The 0810 tells me that's the highway department, and then the 3190 is description of the expense. And so that's professional services. So we've got a lot of Butler Fairman and DLZ. So that is all like the design work that these are all the individual claims that we paid over the course of the year. So that goes a few pages. And so that was a total of $692,000 we paid for the year for that. And then we've got the repair and maintenance of streets where you got Reith Riley. So I assume that is like paving or things of that nature, that we spent about $400,000 for that. And then we've got right-of-way acquisition, and so you're going to see a good solid page of those, and $206,000 was spent for the year. Then the infrastructure, roads and streets, and I do believe most of that marathon, that is fuel purchases, I do believe. There were some adjustments in there. If you see the debits and credits of the $2 million, those are kind of ins and outs. There was a real problem with the billing on that one, and so that was corrected that way where it was supposed to be
A
like.
lot of gas, huh?
Yeah, well, we got an $8 million bill for gas for 1 month, so we thought that was a little high, but we did get that corrected. So you go through that whole little section, and $622,000 would be the net change there. And then we got the infrastructure, Yates Construction, and it does, for Bridge 121 was most of it, and there was a log jam that we paid $48,000 for, so there was $583,000 on the year spent there. And then the culverts and drains, Reeve Riley, again, we had a couple claims there for $220,000. And so that is a quick little summary of what the project fund has done over the course of 2018.
Okay. What do you want us to do about that?
Nothing?
Just reviewing it, right?
Yeah.
Now we got Tom Murtaugh on the agenda, right?
Yes, and so
Project.
I will be referring to the next page that's in your handout, titled Projected Expenditures from TIF 16 and TIF 27. Yep, that's it. So, these, if you look in the 2019 column, those are the projects that we looked at last year, and this board signed off on for expenditure for this year. Some of those, as you'll see in the columns, will be wrapped up this year, then some will continue into 20, and then some into even 2021. And I don't know how much detail you want me to give, but the disable, these are all, again, projects that are either directly in the TIF or directly serve one of these two TIFs. The first one is the Dismal Creek Drain, and that's a project through our surveyor's office that is cleaning out and completely clearing out the Dismal Creek, which is east of town and just south of 52, and that project's going to be wrapped up this summer. The Haggerty Road Improvement Project, that's a joint project with the city of Lafayette, in which we're turning, if you notice on Haggerty Lane, Toyota Tuchot is building that new plant just right there by the Armory, and we are jointly doing the new manufacturer's way, I think is the new road that curves back and hooks up with Veterans Memorial, and then also doing turn lanes and passing blisters on Haggerty to account for that economic development project. Community Crossings 3, if you recall, Community Crossings is a new program through the state, and it's part of the road funding bill that allows cities and towns and counties to apply for grant money to do particular projects, especially related to economic development. And this one was doing the roads at Newcastle and 450 South for the expansion of the industrial zone further down 52. That project will wrap up this year, and as you'll see, our match for that is $1.1 million. So it was, we got a match, or we got a grant for another $1 million from the state. So it's a $2.1 million project. Bridge 32, that's the bridge over Haggerty Lane over the Wildcat Creek. That's a project where we're doing the engineering this year, and then the construction of the bridge will start in 20 and wrap up in 2021. So it's a 3-year project, and it's complete reconstruction of that bridge. The Concord and County Road 430 project is happening right now. If you've been out there, this is just further south of Walmart, Veterans Memorial. Concord and 430 are closed right now for this project, and that should wrap up within the next 30 days. But it is a safety project, meaning that we received federal money due to the fact that that intersection was deemed unsafe due to site issues. So it's improving the line of sight, and then adding safety, or adding turn lanes and passing blisters to that project. Also, at 450 in Concord, we'll be enhancing the trail, and this is a totally new trail system that will link up to the existing system, and that's a $400,000 project that will be online for next year. And then the last 4 items are drainage projects, working with the surveyor's office. We'll be doing a huge project on the AROS drain that's at Jack and Bore under I-65. The state actually has an obligation to pay a large portion of this, so they'll be paying about 60% of the cost of this, but the overall project's estimated to be about $1 million. So still our cost will be $400,000 to cover that project. And then we'll be doing pilot channels on the AROS itself, which is just north of McCarty Lane and west of Veterans Memorial Parkway. And we'll be doing a project where we'll be putting these pilot channels in, and then as development happens, those channels will actually be expanded to handle the drainage for that property as that property develops. And keep in mind that as that property develops, those developers or the end user will be paying impact fees that will repay those funds. Then we are doing, along with the City of Lafayette, participating with the Upper Elliott Master Plan. I'm not sure if any of you are very familiar with the Elliott Ditch that runs through town, but it is, it's a mess. You're very familiar with it.
I live on it.
Yeah.
We got a beach.
Yeah. It really does need to be dredged and cleared out. There's a lot of properties in which it's completely overgrown with trees and vegetation. And then, so we're going to be doing a master plan to help with that. And then, as you'll see, the last item is actually reconstruction of part of that Elliott Ditch, which includes some pretty significant money to get that project done, but it is instrumental for drainage in that area. So if you'll look at those total expenditures, and then compare that down below to the revenue that we're projecting in there, I have beginning balances as of January 1 of 19 for both TIF 16. And then just a little bit of background on 16. 16 is the TIF that is controlled by the county, and TIF 27 is the one that's controlled by the city, but they're both joint TIFs, and they're both shared 50-50 of the two entities. So you'll see the beginning balances of both of those TIFs and the expected revenue from those TIFs. Did I say that? I think I said that backwards, didn't I? 16, no, I did not. I said that correctly. And so you'll see the projected revenues, and I added 5% growth per year. In 16, it really probably could be maybe a little bit higher than 5%, but I wanted to be conservative in that. I wouldn't expect it to be much more than 5% in the TIF 27. But you'll see what we are projecting for total revenue. And when you look at our total 3-year expenditures compared to our 3-year revenue, we are eating into our balance a little bit, from what we have today. But I would also expect that all of these projects that are outlined here will help that area grow significantly. So we would expect, in turn, that the TIF revenue will grow significantly as well. So I'm not overly concerned that we're eating into those balances, and obviously we're not spending more than what we are expected to take in. We're still, a good $2 million clear there, but it is a little bit more than we are spending down what we have currently and what we expect those balances to be. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have in regard to those projects or revenue. And I think, do we need to take a vote on the actual expenditures?
On the expenditures, I don't think so. I think we just need to take a vote on the
Determination of,
on the assessed value.
okay.
One thing on that page before Tom's there, I threw in, I just scribbled some numbers on it. It's a record, a property tax record that we have for Subaru. And of course, this is a big area. It's not just Subaru, but it's in the Subaru area. And one of the components that is captured by the TIF is personal property. And this is the 18, pay 19 record, and where I did put a little star over there on the left-hand side. For pay 19, the total assessment was $159 million, and I believe the captured amount is listed on here. The increment is the base AB. But anyway, when I now look at the 19 pay 20, which the assessor is not done auditing those before they give those values to us, but that's my little handwriting over here. And when the abatement is applied, the total assessment for 19 pay 20 should be right around 188 million. So just from this particular record here, we're talking about close to a $30 million assessed value increase. That will all be captured. So right there, that's going to be a good little chunk of money that will be going to the TIF. And there's a lot of other records out. There's a lot of growth out in that area, so we should get a lot more. So the 5% is probably pretty
Very
conservative.
conservative, yeah. Okay.
So we need a motion for what?
We need to determine if we want to capture assessed valuation and give it to the TIF in 2020. And so obviously with the projects that Tom's outlined, that seems pretty apparent.
Seems like
Yeah.
you already thought it.
Yeah, it's,
That's kind of already going to happen, right?
well, I mean, I think that these are very, very
Yeah.
viable projects that need
grow.
to happen for this area
It's
to
healthy,
grow.
yeah, it's healthy.
And in order for these projects to happen, we do need to, to capture that revenue.
It used to be that it was just an automatic, that the captured assessment was given to the Redevelopment Commission for their projects. And then a number of years ago, then that was changed, that the Redevelopment Commission needs to publicly say that they do need the assessed valuation and not just give it to them whether they need it or not.
This could be in the form of a motion, is that what we have?
Yeah, that's all we need.
Is that what you just did?
Actually, I don't think I did, but I will make the motion that we move forward to capture the AV,
Needed funds?
100%.
100% of the assessed valuation to fund the TIF, the two TIFs.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Mr. Burrow. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passed. Okay, thank you. Now what?
Now, I think Bob wants to talk about.
Yeah, the next, and this isn't anything we're going to take action on now, but it's just to let you know, and we had a set of minutes that reflected a meeting like this last year, but the Redevelopment Commission needs to meet with the other taxing authorities, the township, schools. They all need to be invited to a meeting where we can tell them about the TIF and what the impact on them is.
Right.
And if you remember last year in December, we just need to have this by the end of the year. We had one jointly with Lafayette and West Lafayette Redevelopment Commission here. And so that's maybe what we're trying to contend, that if we could have another one, don't have any date even thought about yet, but just to let you know, and this last couple of pages, this was something that I just got from a vendor who obviously wants to help us do that. But it does kind of detail, what the House Bill 1242 stated, and that's just what we need to do. Same thing we did last year. But
You could theoretically do it jointly with a meeting like this, but we had to get this one taken care of by June 15th, because I think that was the date you've got to tell the state what your assessed valuation capture is. This other one says any time within the year you have the meeting with the taxing units. I guess it's up to you whether you thought that was a good idea, but it seemed reasonable that because all taxing units are sometimes, I guess, in overlapping redevelopment commissions, it made some sense to have all three redevelopment commissions meet at once. So it'd be up to you. Probably this year you've got to do it sometime before December 31st. Next year, if you wanted to coordinate where you had that kind of joint meeting before this meeting, or if you're not too bothered by having, two meetings in a year, then you can just keep doing it that way.
it makes it a little difficult to have it like at this meeting, because we're saying how much we're going to capture, and we don't know how much that is.
There'll be a lot of questions.
If we want to say we don't want to capture it all,
Yeah.
we don't know what the all is. So
Right.
it is easier, number-wise, to have 2 meetings a year.
And
Next meeting be the same, then we'll have more complicated one later in the year?
Although it's really not much more complicated.
Almost less complicated.
Yeah.
Last time, the city representative from Umball, he pretty much gave the whole detail on everything, because it's the same pretty much for every, and I'm not sure we really even give any detail.
Well, we provided information in regard to the projects that have been
Yeah.
completed. And then
But not
put
as far as
together a
what the
program.
impact is on their budgets, which really isn't much of anything, because the tax rates, adjust themselves for less assessed valuation if it's going to be captured. But
I got the sense that our system was simpler, it was easier to explain, because we kind of just get the cash in, spend the cash on a project, whereas the other folks were, using a bunch of bonds and had to
Right.
discuss that.
But I think it is warranted to, at least for the second year, to try to do it as a joint meeting with both cities.
In December.
In December, because that way, all those entities that may want to attend can hear all three, so, together.
You want to put
So-
that together, Bob?
Sure.
All right. Amen. What else we need to accomplish?
I don't have any,
Other
we don't
business?
have any other business and
So I guess.
public comment.
Public comment.
Public
Hey,
comment?
public, wake up.
Yeah, wake up. Get off your phones.
Well, if no other business to come before this august body, the chair will entertain a motion.
So moved to adjourn.
Okay, and there's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm passed, we're adjourned. Thank you all. Thanks, Bob.
Yeah.
Numbers are good, I like your numbers.
I saw your picture on the paper.
that's good.
Was that yesterday or today?
That was yesterday. Somebody said you made the sports page again. I thought you were done.
What was it?
Oh, I'm just giving the award to Dustin Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
Now, did you play for the Raiders?
Yeah.
Or was my memory just bad?
No, I tried out for the Raiders and didn't make it, and then tried out for the Bengals and played some exhibition games,
Oh.
but that was it. So-
I just
But
remember.
that's a good memory if you thought I did.
And back in those days, back in the olden days, I was a big Oakland Raider fan,
Yeah.
so I was excited.